Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us for this meeting. I'll go ahead and call it to order at 6 o'clock. Mr. Lenny, can you verify that we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, we do.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Pastor Brian Shaull, I don't believe has been able to make it just yet. I believe you got stuck in traffic. Mr. Tony, would you pray for us, sir? I know you're here. Would you do the honor of the invocation, please, sir?
Yes. Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to come together as a community. Father, we just ask that your spirit be upon us, that we're led in a way that brings honor and glory to the kingdom. We ask, God, that you just shine a light and that you would let us feel your peace, your presence in this room tonight. Let decisions be made according to truth, and let us just honor you in all that we do. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, you need to please. Actually, Mr. Frank, you're with us. Come on up, sir.
Thank you.
I need to do some reading beforehand.
That's fine. Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. I apologize for that. Mr. Brian, we just missed you with the invocation, but we appreciate you being with us, sir. We'll get you signed up on the next meeting for invocation. Yes, sir. Thank you. Council, you do have an agenda before you that was previously distributed. I would ask for one amendment. The amendment will be right after the adoption, is that we allow for a vote for Ms. Kim Golder to serve as interim clerk for this meeting, based on our clerk being absent. So with that one amendment, I'll yield the floor for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion that agenda be adopted with the amendment.
Second. Any discussion, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Council, at this time, yield the floor for a motion to vote Ms. Kim Golder as the interim clerk for this meeting, as our clerk is absent for educational purposes.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Any discussion, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Golder, if you'll make sure that the invocation of Mr. Tony is. Yes, okay. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next up, I have the public comment section. We do have some individuals that have signed up to speak. What I do want to make sure that everyone's aware of this evening before I get to the public comment section. Under the public hearings, item 1 and 2, those were, the applicants requested to continue this item. You'll also see that under new business, as item 1 and 2, we will go ahead and take care of that whenever we get there, but that'll be continued. So that will not be discussed and or decided on today. With that being said, the public comment section, there are guidelines for the public comment. Number 1 is the mayor will announce the public comment section of the agenda. This is not an unlimited public forum. Number 2, the individual making a comment must state their name and address and be physically present. Number 3, the comments are limited to city matters. Number 4, the comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. The mayor does have the right to extend time. Number 5, no personal attacks or unwarranted accusations. Number 6, the mayor or presiding officer has the right to end the comment or comments due to violations of rules or the length of the agenda. Number 7 is the individual commenting can only exercise their public comment section of the meeting once a meeting. Number 8, no individual can allocate or transfer their time for comment to another person. Number 9 is no inappropriate language, signs, or images. Number 10 is public comment period will be limited to 30 minutes. And first up on public comment, Mr. Tony Davis. Come on up, sir. I have you speaking for suspension of pro park. So if you'll state your name and address for the record, sir.
Tony Davis, 400 Georgiana Street.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to say a couple of thank yous before you start my time. I want to thank you for being open to taking calls. And I just want to thank you, Ms. Goldner, for being so helpful and helping me to wrap my mind around the complexity of this water and sewer issue. And I would hate to have your job. It seems you have to stand up and say all the things out loud nobody wants to hear. So I pray for you all. I want to thank you, Ann, for being open to calls. And once again, you were so nice to me, I have made the decision not to use the fact that you're an Alabama fan.
All right, to the comments. Suspension of pro part.
So I'm gonna refer to resolution 2024-16 for just a minute because it's pretty serious language. It first says, whereas the City of Jasper, Georgia is authorized and directed by section 1.13 22 of the charter to have a general purpose of acquiring, equipping, constructing, maintaining, and operating adequate water supply, treatment, distribution facilities, and sewage collection. And then it says, whereas is rapidly approaching maximum water and service and sewage treatment capacity, the capacity available under its current infrastructure and current permits. This language sounds really serious, not only to the aspect of new permits and new building coming into the community, but also that if we were struck by something we weren't prepared for, even what we have now hooked up to the system could be in jeopardy. And so, with that being said, I want to just talk about a meeting we had. It was a council meeting on May the 5th, and the question was about 40% of the water being lost due to leaks and other situations. Some of the language that was talked about that night and some of the issues was that Goodwin, Mills, and Kaywood did a capital improvement plan for us, and there was 7 major projects that could not wait, is what was said. 3 were drinking, 4 were clean water issues, which is really wastewater. And the city was asked, if I'm not mistaken, GEFA, the Georgia Environmental Financial Authority, to provide funding for those 7 projects, which would have been $24 million. Because of some issues with the USDA loan, they were cut down to $8 million, and so 4 of those projects were tabled. I don't know if we got the $8 million loan from GEFA, did we? Or did we not, to address
Yes,
the
sir.
review?
We do.
So that was $8 million to address the issues that we were facing that were critical. And in that meeting, it said the amount of money the city can secure is completely dependent on our ability to pay it back. So, and also in that meeting, Mayor Raffield, you said that there may be frustration among the people because of a lack of understanding. And I want to just publicly state tonight, there is a lack of understanding, and it's really hard for us to gain that understanding. A lot of the information that I've gathered, I've had to go through open records requests to try to just pull out and understand. So I'm going to request tonight concerning the citizens that the board would consider at least a quarterly sit-down town hall-like discussions that we could ask questions that we're concerned about and have a back and forth dialogue. So I would like to just make that statement tonight. We're asking that, the people, we're asking that we could have that kind of dialogue. The next thing I wanted to,
Mr. Davis, your 3 minutes has passed.
you want to extend me just 2 more minutes?
I'll give you a minute and a half. Let's go.
All right, then, Mr. Proctor did a public, a post on social media that said there was $30 million of projects that were in design and construction phase, all with funding. So I was wondering where that $30 million was coming from. We would like to know that. And then the 2020 SPLOST money for Parole Park, we got a grant from Appalachian Regional Commission for $1 million. We put $1.4 million to that to match that million to start Parole Park when we're in such dire need of sidewalks, roadways and infrastructure construction, why would we put, and I know that the actual, when that grant, the SPOS monies are intended for infrastructure. That was the original intent for SPOS monies. So why could we not take that 2.4 million, because Appalachian Region Commission does do grants for failing infrastructure. Why wouldn't we go after those grants to try to get everything up to par to at least be prepared to face an emergency if we had one? And so in the budget, there was $30,000 this year for the streets and sidewalks. That doesn't seem like much to me. So I'm just wondering why we would be pushing so hard to take our tax dollars and build a new park when we're struggling so much with the infrastructure that we have.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Next on the list, Mr. Tommy Blassingame. Are you here, sir? There you are. Come on up. You will state your address and name for the record, please, sir.
My name is Tommy Blassingame, 1054 Hunter's Ridge.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I don't think that's working out in your favor right
It's
now.
not working out at all. Coach.
Oh, yes, sir. You go right in.
Ladies and
Go ahead
gentlemen,
and start with 3 minutes.
Mayor, city staff, and council members, thank you for allowing me the time to bring this matter before you. My name is Tommy Blassingame, and I own a development and construction company called Red Buffalo Holdings, which owns property on the corner of Jonah and Noah. 2 years ago, and because of Jasper's critical need for primary care doctors, we began our commitment to develop a primary care facility. Our timeline is as follows. March 31st, 2023, first email was sent to the city by our engineering firm, Civil Logistics. June 29th, 2023, initial submission of our site plan and request for a pre-app meeting. July 14th, pre-app meeting with Mary Burgess and Shauna. They advised the need to provide a sprinkler system in buildings over 4,900 square feet, and the city staff recommended meeting with the fire marshal for specific firewall questions regarding the new city ordinance. July 21st, meeting with the fire marshal and the city. We asked if we are requiring more usage of water to sprinkler buildings over 4,900 square feet. Do we have the infrastructure to support this? We were specifically advised yes, and thus our developmental plans and investment costs continue. July 24th that same year, we officially hired Civil Logistics to be our civil engineer on the project with Michael Corcoran. We retained legal counsel to provide legal services for closing, development, and construction. Contacted lenders for construction loan, thus begun our due diligence period to include survey, engineering report, geotech survey. Then we confirmed we could build on the property based on the findings of these reports. September 25th, 2023, we met with a broker who is Eric Heber with Jones, Lang & LaSalle, or JLL, one of the largest commercial developers in Georgia. Also known for developing the new Atlanta Braves Stadium, the NCR building across the street from Georgia Tech in Midtown, Halcyon in Alpharetta, the Gathering at South Forsyth, which will house an NHL arena, which holds 18,000 spectators. And locally, I think that we're all familiar with the 50,000 square foot Piedmont Emergency Department with helipad in Ellijay, Georgia. Regarding the construction of our healthcare facility for Piedmont Hospital Physicians Group on our property. October 6, 2023, we closed on the property. November 14, 2023, we received our first copy of the lease draft with Piedmont from JLL. November 20th, 2023, we prepared construction estimate and delivered that to JLL. The 21st, initial site plan provided to JLL. April 23rd, 2024, we had a Teams meeting with the healthcare provider and JLL for construction of all parties. For introduction of all parties, I apologize. May 1st, 2024, there was an in-person meeting with the healthcare provider and the walking of the construction site. September 9th, 2024, first moratorium was placed. September 10th, 2024, Renaissance Bank approves the construction loan. October 21st, 2024, the final internal review process by the healthcare provider. The third week in February of 2025, the deal and contract were going to final approval for healthcare provider. On April 1st, 2025, the final docs were sent to Renaissance Bank. May 6, 2025, final lease agreement was approved. May 15th, 2025, we met with the city officials and healthcare provider, Mary Burgess, Kim Goldner, Brandon Douglas. At this meeting, we requested a path going forward for an exception to be made for construction of this primary care facility. We were advised the only way to receive an exception is to present this matter before you and request an exception to the moratorium. That's why I'm here before you now. June 17th, 2025, the city informed the civil engineer they will not be meeting with them due to water and sewer moratorium. As you've heard, we've worked on this matter for over 2 years, following all the proper procedures, meeting with the necessary city staff, and expended a substantial amount of time and money, all with the understanding and belief that we would be able to construct this facility. Now, we desperately need to receive an exception to the moratorium in order to continue construction of the property and fulfill the critical need for primary care of the citizens of Jasper. On a side note, our office, our engineers and attorneys have left numerous messages and emails attempting to receive answers, but have received little or no response. Mrs. Goldner implied in the newspaper last week that our name is on the list. May we review this list? Section 4 of the second moratorium states, any water or wastewater treatment application so described, submitted as a preliminary engineering application received during the original suspension and the temporary suspension extension, hereinafter the interim applications will be marked as received with the appropriate date and time of delivery to the city staff. Upon receipt, the city staff will deliver a copy of the dated interim application to the applicant and place the original interim applications on file until such time as the original suspension and the temporary suspension extension is terminated. To date, we have not received our interim application as stated. Will you please let me know when we can receive this document of our submission? And finally, I make my formal request for an exception to be made on our property, since our request for building, purchasing the land, etc., were followed and we were told we could build, and now we are being denied when the deal has been in the work for 2 years, which began 1 year before the first moratorium was instated in September of 2024. Council, will you please vote tonight and give us an answer on whether you will allow an exception for the healthcare facility to provide support to a local hospital so that the local residents don't have to drive to Northside Cherokee and keep the dollars in our own community. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Samuel Sly, I have you next on the list, sir. Come forward and state your name and address for the record, please. Welcome.
Thank you. Samuel Sly, 175 East Sellers Street. And I'm also on the Jasper Planning Commission. I am also an avid runner and am a fan of the Marble Fest 5K. As such, I would like, and I'm sure I'll get told whether this will be allowed or not, to present a little challenge to the City Hall employees, police, fire, EMT personnel, and elected and appointed officials to sign up for a City Hall challenge for the 5K. So for any public servants that have signed up for the 5K and are participating, if you would sign up on this sheet, I will keep track and I will get a copy shortly before the race, and I can present the results at the next City Hall meeting. I can leave this with you, Mr. Mayor, or if it's allowed.
Sure, we'll take that after the meeting this evening, and then we'll have some challenges to go through staff.
After the meeting. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next individual on the list I have is Jason, and you have to forgive me, sir, is it Holman?
Hallmark.
Holman, there you are, sir. Come on up.
I waited my time.
Okay. All right. Those are the only individuals I have for the public comment section. So I'm going to close the public comment section at this time. Council, Next item on your agenda is the consent agenda. Yield the floor.
Make a motion that we accept the agenda.
Have a motion to accept, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion, council? All in favor? Opposed, same. Thank you, council. What I'm going to do now is we're going to open the public hearing section of our agenda. Hello, Ms. Burgess.
Good evening.
Item 1 and 2 have been continued at the applicant's request, is that correct?
That is
Would
correct.
you like to make a short statement on that?
I
For the
would,
record.
if you don't mind.
For the record, right?
Council, Mr. Mayor, members of the audience, tonight items 1 and 2, which are applications for an annexation and rezoning for 773 Fairview Road. It is 48.65 acres. They are requesting to change from county ag to city single-family attached for a proposed 220 units. As you all are aware, even though we do have this temporary moratorium, it does not prevent people from exercising their rights to request an annexation or a rezoning at this time. So at this property is just exercising their rights, which we have to legally oblige them to hear these items as an annexation and rezoning. So the applicant has asked to continue this to our next cycle, which would be our date certain of September 23rd for the Planning Commission and October 6th for the City Council. Again, so that is for items 1 and 2, the annexation and rezoning for 773 Fairview.
Thank you, ma'am. Council, there is no action needed under public hearings on those 2 items. We would like to move on to item number 3, request by applicant Dave Terry. It says here about 30 Wall Street. Mr. Terry, are you with us, sir? Is the applicant present? There you are. Would you like to come forward and make some statement?
I'll defer, so.
All right. Well, then I'll turn it over to Ms. Ellis, staff. Come on
Great.
forward.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. So the next items we have before you this evening are requests by applicant Dave Terry for his property located at 30 Wall Street in the city's central business district. Mr. Terry is here requesting a total of 4 variances to accommodate the adaptive reuse of a portion of the site into a pocket park with outdoor dining and recreation, and then 2 on-site parking spaces. So the subject property is located on the east side of our downtown at the northeast corner of Wall Street and Highway 53 or Church Street. The property is zoned Central Business District or CBD and is comprised of 3 parcels that total about 0.2 of an acre in size. However, this area does include the existing building, so the remaining developable area on the property is closer to about 1,400 of an acre. The property is served by city water and sewer and improved with an existing 3,170 square foot building. The building currently accommodates the Wall Street Barber on the north end, and then there are about 2,500 square feet of leasable commercial space on the south end. Mr. Terry has branded this overall redevelopment project as Hensley Plaza, and his idea behind it is to create sort of a destination area on the east side of our downtown that will honor the history of the Hensley building, which, as you may or may not know, was originally constructed as Jasper City Hall back in the 1950s. So a bit more of the site context from the ground. To the north, we have the existing Hensley Plaza building, zone CBD. To the east, across Depot Street, we have the train depot, which is currently vacant, but maybe undergoing some renovations, as well as the Jasper Junction Antique Store. To the south, across Highway 53 or Church Street, we have the Dollar Tree, which is also located within our central business district. And then to the west, across Wall Street, we have the Texaco convenience store and gas station that is zoned C2 general commercial. So Mr. Terry is looking to redevelop the area shown here in between the existing monument sign and the existing building into a pocket park and an on-site parking area. And in order to do this, he is requesting a total of 4 variances. So his first variance is to reduce the required on-site parking from 26 spaces to 2 spaces. So because Mr. Terry is redeveloping a portion of the property, the city does have a nexus to ask for the new development to conform with our current regulations, including our parking. However, due to the very limited remaining developable area on this portion of the property, it is not going to be possible for him to provide the required 26 spaces and associated maneuvering areas on site and comply with our other applicable development regulations related to parking, screening, etc. How we arrived, just a little bit of context on how we arrived at the 26 spaces. So the existing building is 3,170 square feet. If we look at that based on the highest and best use, which we have determined to be a restaurant use in this area, we have a parking ratio of 1 space per 125 square feet of building area. So when you take the 3,170 divided by 125, you get 25 and some change spaces. Obviously, you can't have a portion of a parking space, so we round up to the 26. Essentially, Mr. Terry is just seeking to benefit from, what a lot of our other businesses within the central business district benefit from, which is utilizing solely on-street parking. So, unfortunately, our ordinance does not currently contemplate parking relief for projects in our central business district or these types of adaptive reuse projects. So Mr. Terry would like to utilize the on-street parking that is available on Depot Street, Northeast Street, and Court Street. He also owns a parking lot behind the Weaver Law Firm that has approximately 35 spaces that he intends to utilize for both patrons and employees of this development. The next two variance requests are related to access to the site. So our zoning ordinance provides that you cannot have a driveway located within 100 feet of the center line of an intersecting thoroughfare, which in this case would be Highway 53. So our ordinance provides that the center line of Mr. Terry's proposed driveway and the center line of Highway 53 must be 100 feet apart. Mr. Terry is requesting to reduce that to 65 feet, just again because this is an exceptionally short urban lot. There's not as much area to provide the driveway without just dissecting the site into two essentially unusable halves. A step further, our ordinance provides that if you do have driveway access within 100 feet of an intersecting thoroughfare, that access must be what's referred to as channelized or right in, right out. Here, the thought is that you want to limit turning conflicts. So if the left turn were to occur out of that driveway, you want to make sure that the incoming traffic would have adequate time to respond to that. However, since Mr. Terry is only proposing 2 parking spaces, these conflicts are just going to be fairly limited because of the limited number of spaces. The final variance request is to eliminate the requirement to screen the proposed parking lot from public right-of-way. So, as I'm sure you're familiar with the slide, it is highly visible from Off Street, 53 Depot Street. So our ordinance provides that your parking lot has to be screened from public right-of-way. The intent of this is to screen the headlights and just make a more aesthetically pleasing site. But since the site area is so small, it's really important for him to kind of maximize what he does have left. And so his engineer felt it would be meaningful to eliminate this requirement. But I do want to note that with the existing monument sign that's there, that will sort of help accomplish the intent while not necessarily fully screening the parking area. So that's just kind of a very high-level overview of the different requests he's got. So again, just wanted to highlight essentially the remaining developable area that Mr. Terry is working with. As you can see, it's quite small and could not include the 26 parking spaces and associated maneuvering areas, as well as our interior and perimeter landscape standards. And again, the property's unique urban context likely informed this small size, which is typical in these sort of downtown areas where development is more dense and more concentrated. So this is the site plan for the overall redevelopment. As you can see, moving south from the existing building, it's got a nice outdoor dining and seating area, a little lawn with a stage, an outdoor fireplace, and a cornhole area that will be located in between the building and the proposed parking spaces. I also want to acknowledge that while this site is already challenged from a lot area standpoint, the lot area is also being further reduced by a GDOT right-of-way acquisition, which informed the location of his existing sign, which is why we could only really squeeze in those 2 parking spaces that are there. This next image is an illustrative rendering of what the proposed pocket park could look like. We wanted to include this just to show how this redevelopment proposal really could activate this space. The proposal has deviated slightly since I believe this was originally rendered, but I do feel that this conveys how this space could be meaningfully activated if the variance request were to be approved. So finally, section 94-210 of our zoning ordinance outlines the approval criteria for variance requests. The first criteria is that exceptional conditions pertain to the property in question because of its size, shape, or topography. Staff believes that this criteria is met as the property is an exceptionally small corner lot located within a short urban block. The second criteria is that application of the ordinance to this property would result in unnecessary hardship. Staff believes that this is met as compliance with our current regulations would create an unnecessary hardship due to the exceptionally small remaining developable area. As I also mentioned, our zoning ordinance just does not currently contemplate relief for these sort of in-town infill adaptive reuse projects. The third criteria is that such exceptional conditions are peculiar to this property. Staff believes this is met as the location of the nearly 100-year-old building and the property's exceptionally small size are peculiar. The fourth criteria is that the exceptional conditions are not the result of actions of the property owner. Staff believes this is met. Obviously, the location of the building, which is 100 years old, the short urban block, and the property's small size are not the result of the property owner's actions, rather, again, due to the site's urban development context. And then finally, that relief, if granted, would not cause substantial detriment to the public good, nor interfere the purpose or intent of our ordinance. Here again, staff believes this is met as approval of the variances will allow the applicant to reasonably redevelop this infill property, addressing as many of our current regulations as possible. So with that, staff is recommending approval of all four of the variance requests, subject to a condition acknowledging, again, our ongoing temporary suspension as recommended by legal. I should also note that the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of all four requests as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak on this project?
I'll just,
Give it to you, Mr. Terry. Yes, sir.
so I think Elizabeth summarized it well. I'll just reinforce a few things that she brought up. The GDOT right-of-way purchase was completed on August 29th. I was asked to also reach out to neighbors that might be impacted by this project. And I submitted 2 written letters of support and have other letters of support from the neighbors that would be potentially impacted by the project. So again, this is part of the permitting process, but I think overall in the bigger context, these are minor, rather procedural type issues that are about advancing a project that will improve and better the community. And through lots of engagement with the community, the best and highest use of the space, it could be more parking, it could be high density housing, but the objective is to create a community gathering place and something that will really be appropriate for downtown. And there's been lots of polling as well and lots of anecdotal feedback around a big void in our community is to have more family-friendly type activities and more entertainment and things to do. So we're reaching out. I've been asked a lot, has there already been a tenant identified? The answer is no, but part of what we collaborated on with the city with the variances that you saw were determining what the highest ratio of parking might be needed, and it would be potentially for a restaurant. That's not to say a restaurant has already been identified, but we would rather err on the potential use case that would need that property. And then I've gotten into a lot around the why of the project, but just to reinforce, it's really about 2 things: preserving the history of that building. It's a special property. It's the old city hall. Harold and Phyllis Hensley, who I got to know well, occupied that building for 32 years. They were a staple and continue to be in the community. So it was about honoring their name. And the second goal was really about serving as a catalyst for local economic development in the back of Main Street. So that's what I would hope you consider tonight. We also have been, in addition to the letters of support, went to the Downtown Development Authority meeting and also attended the Planning Commission meetings, all of whom have voiced a favorable response for the project.
Thank you, sir. Before I move on, anyone else from the public that would like to speak on the item? All right, and this time I will close the public hearing. Council, moving on to new business. Item number 1, consideration of request to annex. I'm going to yield the floor for a motion to table until our next scheduled meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, council? All in favor? Opposed, same? Thank you, council. Item number 2, consideration of request to rezone. At the request of the applicant, I'm going to yield the floor for a motion to table until our next regular meeting.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second, any discussion, council? All in favor? Opposed, same? Thank you, council. Item number 3, consideration of ordinance 2025-19 for the request to call variances. Mr. Seifman, before I yield the floor for anything, would you like a motion per variance request, or do you want that under that one ordinance for one motion?
I think it's time to do one motion for the 4 variance.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll yield the floor for a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-19 for the 4 variances.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2025-19 for all 4 ordinances, variances.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion, council? All in favor? Opposed, same. Thank you, council. Item number 4, consideration of GDOT roundabout landscaping. Ms. Golder, welcome.
Thank you. Bear with me as I rifle through this stuff. So I've included in your package this evening the proposed mowing and maintenance agreement that GDOT requires. As with the State Road 53 project, if anyone in the room is not aware, they are proposing a roundabout at the intersection with Burnt Mountain Road, Spring Street, East 53. That's right there at Walgreens and Dollar Tree, so that is proposed to become a roundabout. Roundabouts typically either have a concrete center, which is GDOT's standard, it is just a concrete area with no landscaping, or if the local jurisdiction is interested in having something different, like landscaping or something like that, then you are required to enter into a mowing and maintenance agreement, which you have attached in your packets to look. It puts the responsibility of maintaining the landscaping on the city. And as you will see, as you rifle through the pages, there is a section of specifications that must be met. There is certain landscaping, there are certain things that you may have, and then it must be built to that standard. So it's not just, hey, we want a tree, it's, there are certain trees, there are certain grades, there are certain things that you can put in there. So, council is requested to provide some direction on how you would like to proceed with this. When I had Mr. Seifman look the agreement over, he agreed that, it's a standard GDOT agreement, but he did raise some good points. Mr. Seifman, I don't know if you would like to chime in on those.
Well, as Ms. Gopler indicated, the plant specifications are pretty specific, so we'll just have to keep up with it. The other thing that they raised, they want us to insure the premises, the area, so we'll have to add that little circle to our list of property that's covered by our casualty insurance or our liability insurance. So you just need to be aware that, I don't think it'll affect our premium, but in theory it could.
Thank you, sir. Anything further from staff? No. Council, you have the floor for a motion on this item. Thank
Make a motion that the agreement with GDOT be approved with our council's explanation.
Have a motion to approve the agreement as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second, any discussion, council?
Yeah, I mean, our hands are pretty much tied here. We don't have a lot of room with anything, right? So, I mean, this is our option is to sign the agreement and then whatever we decide to plant or put out there is our discretion.
So,
Based on the
so
list.
you have a choice. If you do not sign the agreement, then it will be an unlandscaped roundabout in the center. If you sign the agreement, then we are bound by the agreement, by the specifications that are listed in the agreement on what kind of landscaping you can have and things like that. So it's more of a, just be aware, you know.
We kill the center store and improve, there's brick across it. So it means there's no grass to cut, no water to get out there.
So from staff's perspective, I will say, it is hard for us to get into the middle of an intersection and a roundabout and maintain it. Staff is prepared to do whatever council would like for us to do. If you would like for it to be landscaped, then we will certainly do what we have to. We will be very thoughtful, though, in our selection of what actually goes in the middle there, because the last thing that we want is someone to get hurt in the middle. And that could be from either hitting a tree, hitting something in the middle, or one of our folks being in the middle and getting hurt from traffic. So it is y'all's decision, truly.
And personally, I just feel like we've got our staff stretched thin, and to ask them to take on another project and be dictated what we gotta do to carry under insurance, I don't know, I have concerns about that.
I bet they're staying up there.
Yeah, I would rather see the state handle it than our guys back enough issues without having to do theirs. That's all like that.
Just based on that conversation, Mr. Siphon, can you just clarify, if we choose not to execute this and they put in their standard GL roundabout, there's no need or requirement for us to ensure that he's properly correct?
That's correct.
Got it. Any further discussion, council? Have a motion and a second item to approve. All those in favor? All those against? All right, let's yield the floor again for a motion to deny the execution of this agreement as presented.
Motion, we deny execution of this agreement.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Motion and a second to deny. Any further discussion, council? All in favor? Opposed, same. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Item number 5, consideration approval of EPD action on permits. Ms. Golden?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this may be one of those opportunities that Tony referred to where it's one of those things that no one wants to talk about, but we've done a lot of talking about our utility systems over the last years, and to the point we're probably tired of me talking about them. Tonight, I want to talk to you about some action that is being taken by EPD regarding our wastewater utility. This action is in the form of a consent order, and it is due to violations that have been reported by the city to EPD for sewer overflows and spills that date back to 2022, and for violations against our operating conditions contained within our wastewater treatment permit. That is the reference to the GA 0032204 that is on the agenda. EPD had originally approached the city in May of this year with a proposed short version consent order that was essentially, hey, you violated, here's the ones you violated, and it's going to cost you $13,000 and some change. Pay the fine, and it is resolved. As you're aware, council agreed to allow staff to ask for relief of that fine due to the extensive work that the city has been doing on our utility systems and has plans to do in the future, particularly with our wastewater utility. EPD was receptive to our request once they have reviewed our capital improvements plan and were made aware of our transition to Infomark as our contract plant operators out at the plant. What they have come back and offered now is still a consent order, but it is coupled with a corrective action plan associated with it. There is still a fine. However, we may use any and all work that we have done on the wastewater utility back to the original violation date in 2022 to basically erase that fine. So everything that we've done with the wastewater treatment plant and the expansion project can be used. Work that we've done on the hospital, Town Creek, and Mineral Springs lift stations, when all of those stations failed, can be used. And then everything that we have on our 2 clean water GFA projects, which are forthcoming, the sanitary sewer collection system rehab, which we have had the pre-con meeting with Inliner on, and they will be starting the last week of September. And then the master sewer lift station project, which is getting ready to go out to bid in the middle of September. All of that will go against the fine. And so essentially there is no fine any longer. We have to work the corrective action plan, which is what we want and need to be doing anyways, okay? The corrective action plan is our master utility plan when you couple it with the capital improvements plan, because that lays out our work, what we need to do. GMC is going to put it into a format that EPD wants to see. It needs to follow a specific format. Assuming that council agrees to this consent order with corrective action plan this evening, then it will be posted for 30 days for public comment. That is just EPD policy. And then GMC will take our corrective action plan, do the work on it to get it into the format that they want to see, and then EPD will review and sign off on it, and we are off to the races. So, staff is asking this evening for council to go ahead and authorize the mayor to execute any and all documentation that may be associated with this consent order. He will be required to sign this evening, but this is not the official one. It has to go for public comment. We will get the official consent order back after that 30-day period has lapsed with any kind of comments that may have come on there. Katie has advised that we may see a slight change in the consent order language based on public comment, but it's unlikely. They will just provide the comments to us. So that is what we are asking for this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Council, any questions of Ms. Golder before I yield the floor?
And just to reiterate, Mr. Mayor and Council, some of you are aware, but just for the purposes of the benefit of the consent order is an acknowledgement by EPD that the city is moving forward and doing the things that we need to do. We began doing them, Ms. Golder stated, some of those reported in 2022. Obviously, that's no coincidence. That's when we began our journey with the master plan. All of this kind of tracks in a sequence of seeing certain deficiencies, beginning to identify how do we correct these deficiencies, even amping it up with the suspension of water sewer connections, EPD acknowledging the fact that the impetus for that is you continue to have these deficient infrastructure, water resources, sewer issues relative to I&I and lift station concerns. So the consent order provides a level of protection that while we're working through these obstacles, they essentially give us grace in knowing that there will be additional violations relative to the fact that when there's excessive rain, when there are issues with the lift station, rather than them continuing, like some jurisdictions, you pay to pollute relative to a larger jurisdiction that may get a $5,000, $10,000 fine. With a spill, they just pay to pollute. It's just one of those. We don't necessarily have that luxury, so this is the reason why we began this journey of trying to work with them. I believe they extended multi-years to give us that umbrella protection. So it is important, at least from the staff perspective, knowing that we've got a little bit of a way to go to correct some of these things. We at least know that EPD will say, you know what, hey, we're gonna continue to extend grace because you're doing your best trying to fulfill this corrective action plan.
I'm listening.
Well,
Yes, ma'am. Go
I
ahead.
just think it's important for the community to know that these were self-reported. As we've discovered these issues, that we have self-reported this to the EPD. This is not something they came in and found, it's something that we found and reported it. But our staff has definitely been working hard to get some of this cleared up for us. So,
Absolutely. We had a meeting with EPD previously, and I'm happy to report our working relationship with them is really positive. They see the work that we've done on the infrastructure, that we continue to do on the infrastructure. And again, versus, there are two options here that governments have. You can pay to pollute, you pay the fine, you move on, and then the next one, you pay again. Or you do what we're doing, which is you go into the consent order, a full order with EPD, and you work with them on a corrective action plan over a period of time, where a lot of that grace, Mr. Douglas, you're talking about, is extended based on what we're doing under our capital improvements plan. We have plans in place where the funding is lining up, and so we're going through and we're doing the right things, trying to correct these multi-decade issues. So I agree. Thank you. Any other questions, council, before I yield the floor? Or comments? Yield the floor for approval of the consent order as presented.
So moved.
second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you, council. Thank you. Item number 6, consideration of 2026 insurance plan renewal. Mr. Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So it is that time again whereupon we have the misfortune of talking about something that we have very little control over. As an organization, we do provide certain benefits, health benefits, are required to provide. So, as you may recall, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem through Georgia Municipal Association. It's a larger 10,000 person pool of people wherein we kind of benefit on the law of large numbers, because most of the time organizations 100 employees or under, it is difficult to get competitive pricing. Albeit we did receive a renewal rate of 20%, which is something that we advise our broker, MSI, to go out to the market away from what our current is to try to solicit some level of interest. Unfortunately, based upon the fact that we had about 8 claims, we had a claims loss ratio that exceeded the industry standard of 80%. Therefore, we had about 3 provider or entities that just decided they weren't going to bid. Another one chose 37% over current. There was another self-funded option that we did look at. However, that was not viable due to the fact that the stop and loss carrier provider was, even with an element of self-funding, you do have a certain stop loss. So you would go up to a certain amount, but then you still have an entity that would protect you with those catastrophic claims. They refused to bid. So unfortunately, we have no options relative to providing for our employees and sticking with GMA. We were able to ask them for some relief of the 20% by doing a plan redesign, doubling the deductible. That did allow us to go to a 9.4% increase. So what you'll have in front of you is something that there's multiple options within the one option, but you've got a doubling of the deductible or tripling. So obviously we just selected the 1,000 or 2,000. Obviously it trickles down to out-of-pocket max and family coverage, individual coverage, deductible. We were able to get the 9.4% increase by doing that plan redesign, keeping all the co-pays, co-insurance the same. So that was a fortunate part. So beyond that, we just wanted to seek your direction. We do have to notify GMA as to what we plan to do. Obviously, we have to stay with them, but just what's your pleasure in moving forward with this option?
Thank you, sir. Council, any discussion?
I'd just like to say, we appreciate what the staff has done to get 20% down to 9.4, because they have really worked hard to do this and reached out to different ones, and it's been a tough road to try to get to this right here, and they've done a lot of good work.
Tremendous effort.
And
Yeah.
Mr. Sly's challenge comes in perfect timing to get us active.
Get healthy.
Mr. Douglas, who did we talk to about self-insurance?
This. The broker reached out to someone that I did not write down. It was not them, it was the stop loss carrier.
Okay.
So the self-funding option is an option. It was just the fact that because we had such a high claims ratio, and this is just getting into the weeds, but the industry standard for whether it's fully funded through traditional insurance or self-funding, their benchmark is 80%. So basically, if you spend $1 million on premiums, they don't want to pay out no more than $800,000. So if you exceed that $800,000, what's essentially we're doing is, from a business plan, the insurance, fully or self, want to say, well, we've got to have a margin in there. So it's a little ironic that self-funding is an option, but they also want it to be at 80% as well. So it's kind of one of those, the autonomy you have in your plan design and health reimbursement, health savings is why a lot of folks will go to the self-funding route. And you are rolling the dice with the stop loss, because if you have a good year and you're 60% and you funded it at 100%, then you yourself as an entity will receive savings. The only one time that I experienced that in an organization, obviously it was one of the worst years we had. So we no longer have an appetite for that. But so it is going to continue to be. We did ask the broker, and it was more of a directive that there will be an April work session, in effect to walk through a lot of the what ifs, because the way that the timing goes, they will not release any of the data until the late August, early September timeframe. So each year you get a bevy of emails from management where you're reviewing, dozens of pages worth of gobbledygook that you haven't thought about for a year. Well, maybe some folks think about it more often than not. But it's one of those that we're going to just try to go ahead and say, hey, if this were to happen in August of next year, talk about this in April, you all will have a little more time to digest, say, okay, if it's option A, option B, option D, C, E, F, Z, what happens if we don't go here, what happens if it stays here, replan design. Part of the reason why we were recommending to just nearly double is I was telling the committee, Julian and Snavy, that it does give us the ability next year to look at them and say, well, if we had to do a replan design and change the deductible again. If you go too high too soon, you lose out on the opportunity. So that was just another working goal.
So as I mentioned in our work session, there is a local person who considers himself to be somewhat of an expert in self-insurance, and we actually had him come before council several years ago when we were having some similar issues, and at least it seemed like what he was presenting was very reasonable and could be a viable option. This is certainly not an endorsement in any way, shape, or form, but I would like to get that April timeframe, maybe we would include them in some of the conversations that take it from there. So that'd be awesome. Good. Please.
Thank you, sir. Staff is looking for council to provide direction on the options. Council, you have the options listed before you. Mr. Douglas, it is the option that the deductible goes from 1,000 to 2,000. That is the option staff is seeking. Council, I'll give the floor for a motion on the insurance plan renewal.
I make a motion that we take option 2, which is the deductible from 1,000 to 2,000. It's gonna keep their co-pays the same, so that's what we're trying to look at for the employees as well, to kind of keep their insurance down.
Have a motion and a second. Council, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you, council.
And again, thank you to staff. This is a tremendous effort, and it's not over. It's will be continued through any effort for a time.
Correct. Item number 7, discussion of corrected minutes. Mr. Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Lundy, because our city clerk will be watching the video, I do want to make sure that she understands we give her all the credit for the previous items, and she's going to go back and look at the videos right now. So I take 0 credit. It's all Miss Lori, because I don't want to get in trouble. She's also our HR director. She's got it.
She has worked very hard on
Yes.
Yes, she did. So this is a pretty, I don't want to say simple, but pretty straightforward. This is just one of those situations where we are trying to correct kind of an intent, because neither staff nor legal has the ability to interpret things that otherwise may be ambiguous with regards to direction provided at a council meeting. August 5th of 2019, there was a brief discussion presented to you all in regards to some platted streets in subdivision, Piedmont Village. The intent of the action as reflected through the minutes and video appeared to be that there was going to be an acceptance of those streets. However, the motion did not reflect that. It merely reflected the dedication of. So I know it seems a little technical, but the elected body is the one who actually accepts and doesn't dedicate. So therefore, in order to correct things moving forward and to make sure that any interpretation would stand the test of time relative to the minutes, we are seeking, accepting the Piedmont Village streets being platted right of way as to be changed in the minutes. We'll attach it from this meeting to that meeting, and it will just be accept the Piedmont Village streets being platted in the right of way.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Raffield, can I make some comments before we
Yes, sir.
make a motion? So this is a very complicated situation that demonstrates how far we've come in our development over the last several years. There were 2 PUDs that were approved actually in the same meeting dating back to 2018 and early 2018. And this was one of those. Aside from our willingness to take on the roads, there are some significant issues related to once we do that, where does the water go? And there's a lot of, I think, concern based on the residents. And so I fully support, of course, us doing what we said we were going to do. We try to hold ourselves accountable on those things. And have actually held ourselves accountable for things that have happened for 3 decades before we took our proceedings. But just making sure that council is aware there are issues above and beyond just the roads, and would like to continue to help work through those as we need to.
To your point, I believe, had a conversation with the administration on holding the developer to the standard at which this city accepts when it comes to water, stormwater, all of that information. Runoff, I think that's the important part. Administration's aware, they'll keep working on that. Mr. Seifen, my question for you, sir, this is to have us to correct the August 5th, 2019 minutes. One council member was not on council at the time, and the other on the other side of me was absent. Do you want them to refrain from voting on this?
I think they can vote on it because,
It's a new intent.
yeah, it's just clarifying the intent of the 2019 council. Yeah, I think it's clear, it's just the minutes aren't as clear as we want.
Understand. Mr. Douglas, you were asking for a motion to accept the Piedmont Village streets being platted in the right of way?
They would read, that the city accepts the Piedmont Village streets as they are platted in the right of way.
Give the floor for a motion as Mr. Douglas presented.
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion, council? All in favor? Opposed, same. Thank you, council. Committee report updates, development, local infrastructure.
Let's talk about that. We'd like to go out with things too.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, can I address Tony directly, or would you prefer that I go through you, sir?
If we can hold those comments till the city council comments down below.
It's okay.
Yeah, let's get through committee first.
I'm done. As far as building committee, unfortunately, the suspension is still in effect. I think it's reported under the circumstances that have been presented tonight. Realize this is a moratorium. This is not a moratorium, it's a suspension, and I think that's there are some important factors to that. So those projects that were planned prior and approved prior move forward, and we can't legally stop stuff that's in the middle of development. But we'd like to add that. The comprehensive plan process continues. We actually have public meetings beginning tomorrow, or the 10th, I'm sorry. There's actually 2 sessions, encourage all to attend, 4 and 6 o'clock. And the purposes of that, of course, is we're developing our own comprehensive plan so that we can, just not to break away from the county, it's for us to statutorily meet some of the requirements that we hope to put in place, which will hold our developers accountable with things like impact fees and things like that. And that's a very exciting process. It tags right into our master plan that we developed over the last several years, which is a map of our infrastructure. And it also ties in with our capital improvement plan. So we're looking at how we're going to spend the next 20 years rebuilding this infrastructure that wasn't all that well maintained. Sidewalks, another component of our infrastructure. We currently have, and have had for quite some time, plans in place to support that infrastructure. And that includes about, I believe it's around $2 million in additional grants that we have in place. Initially it was for design, and now it is for both design and construction. The design phase meetings have been going on for quite some time, and we're very close to working on the new meetings for the actual construction. Having said that, there have been some recent issues that have been brought to our attention with some relatively minor things, at least on the big scale of things. And staff has worked very hard to work on some ways to mitigate those problems over the next little while, and those will be done in a very responsible way fiscally and taking care to protect the taxpayers' dollars, even though technically it's a little bit above and beyond the scope of our budget this year. So that'll be, again, some relatively small projects, but still taking care of some of the main streets and sidewalk issues that have come up in the last couple of weeks. And I believe that's kind of it.
I put pested thoughts, so it's.
Finance and admin.
Thank you all for your action on the health insurance, and thank you to the entire staff, including those that may not be with us this evening, for their work on that, and the work that we know is going to happen to continue with the budget. Now we go on that budget. Let's shoot out, I'd say.
Anything, brother? Enterprise committee.
So we had a very exciting meeting on Wednesday on Enterprise. concerning some of the chief of projects that we already mentioned this evening. One of those was the pre-construction meeting, which was held with Inliner Solutions, where they're going to rehab our sewer system, or at least part of it. And that went very well. Met the gentleman who be overseeing that project, along with GMC, our engineers. And excitingly, our representative Philbrook for GMC, which is just one of the engineers that we use, is actually located in the area. And that'll be nice for us in the future. We also did a 100% plan review on another GFO product for the project for the sanitary sewer master lift station. This is basically a combination of two different, maybe more lift stations that have been outdated only for a period of 40 or 50 years, but we're going to be combining those, and that's very exciting as well. Jim?
Chief of Fund Water Treatment Plant Project is currently out for bid. Anticipate that contract to be comes to the council at our November meeting. Second pump has been installed at the raw water intake. It is operational, so that's. And then also the wastewater treatment project is complete. That's one that's been going on for a long time. We're now waiting EPD's walkthrough of the project and certification. Also good news there.
Thanks, sir.
Ribbon cutting, is there a ribbon cutting project? Treatment plant. Is there a ribbon cutting? No.
It'll just run.
Speaking of that, Rain, we had our second and pre-con meeting for the park, and that was a very exciting meeting as well, so. And very excited.
Speaking of parks and properties.
No update from my end. Have to get with Brandon and staff here this week and just talk about the plan. Good to do that.
We've finally got a meeting. Mr. Faust has helped facilitate. Mr. Hannah's been on us for a while, so we do have a meeting tomorrow with Wood Power in the city park on the floodlights for security. So
Yes.
have some good progress there.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, forgot about that.
Could I tag on to that? So we do have some areas in town where Georgia Power is working on the streetlight issues. One of those is at Lee Newton Park, in the walking path area, kind of closest to the Chamber building. There is an issue with the wiring, and so they have gone out, assessed, and advised that it is a wiring issue, which means that they have to call and locate so that they can dig, and then they will get that taken care of. It is the same situation that we have on Main Street in the block between Church Street and Depot, I believe, right in front of the Mule House and the Carriage House and up to the end. Those three lights are out, but there is a wiring issue that they have got to bring in someone to take care of before those lights will be restored.
Yeah, I just have a question for Josh. Did with the Jeep Fest and the camping that was at Lee Newton, everything went well with the power and the water pedestals?
Yep.
Oh, great.
They overloaded it once.
They what now?
Overloaded it just one time.
Oh, those generators.
Yeah, thank you.
You make problems?
No, sir.
Public safety.
All right. Big thing this weekend, we have our National Night Out on Saturday from 4 to 8 at Lee Newton. Would like to invite the public to come on out to support our police and fire department. Free food and games, touch truck, and so just a lot of good fellowship there, and you get to meet a lot with our first responders.
And I would like to bring up about our Jasper Fire Department, and they've successfully completed a Officer 2 class with students from our Jasper Fire Department and Marietta Fire. They have also completed teaching rope tech 2 class with students from Cherokee County Fire, Jasper Fire, at the Toad Road. And they are doing a phenomenal job with the continuing education and moving forward.
And that ropes course was at the coast property down there, so it's nice to see them utilizing the space, offering training.
Thank you, committees. City manager comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and just to put it on record, Mr. Sly, unfortunately, I cannot sign up for the 5K. I already laid the gauntlet down the following week, and staff can attest to this. I'm having a 40-yard dash. I'm built more for 40 yards, and really, it's about 20 yards. But I would sign up, but I think Josh is probably gonna lead the efforts. Anyone who hasn't signed up for my 40-yard dash, you're free to join the 5K. So there you go.
Josh, just coach your golf club as you go.
So I do want to, and that is for real, it's fact. Thank you. To echo the admin committee, we are in the midst of a budget. Unfortunately, we have not received the digest to do the calculations. However, the dates that we had placed on your calendars already, hopefully, if we can get something soon, and then we can do the proper advertisements the next week. We may still be on track. We start from backwards and work way forward. So remember, December 1 is our December meeting, wherein we want to approve the 26 budget. So working backwards, that would be the November 20th budget hearing, a work session, October 2nd. And then October 6th for consideration of the millage. So we are still hoping to stay on that schedule, but just be mindful that if it doesn't happen in the next couple of days, we're just going to have to readjust. We did meet with Kim and I, along with Lindsay, met with all the department leaders a couple of weeks ago, and oftentimes during the budget work sessions, you'll hear me lightheartedly talk about, they're always going to ask more than what we can. That's any government. It is because there are always needs. And so I don't take that lightly, but we do have a fiduciary responsibility to present a more balanced budget. Now, in light of the fact that some of our expenditures have run outside of our revenue, it is going to be very difficult without using fund balance, as discussed last year. So just be mindful that that's going to be our attempt, is to present you all with city management recommendation for the 2026 budget. It does not take away from any of the department needs. It's just merely something that we have to look at the entire budget, regardless of, prioritizing. So also with the, I don't want to reiterate, but each of you as a committee member did highlight a lot of the good things that we've got going on. We've got a great team of leaders that pour every single day into making these projects happen. So although not perfect, I have a philosophy of progress over perfection. So to me, we need to deliver, and I feel as though that we have delivered. May not always be perfect, but when we identify things that we need to work on, we will come back and say, hey, we got to tighten up on this one. Also, want to thank you all for continuing the health insurance. That is a major benefit for our employees. And I think talked about, I just want to reiterate, we got Art Walk this Friday, not sure right out. I do know that Ms. Kim has a couple of things, so I'll take it over to her.
Yes, so good news on Mark Whitfield Street. They have gotten that completely constructed, the new water main. They have been tied in, but the valve is closed until we could get through some testing procedures that have to be done. They had hoped to start tying over services last Thursday evening, and our contractor who has been doing that project was called out to do some other work. And so This evening, they will be starting that first block behind Jasper Drug up to behind Hive and Vine, working on tying those services over. That probably works out better anyways, because some of those businesses that usually are open in the evenings will not be open Monday and Tuesday, and then they will work their way north. We hope to be done with that by Wednesday morning, have all the services tied over at dawn to India Plain, and then we will look at getting the paving scheduled, that asphalt repair done. Yes, so we appreciate everyone working with us on that. I know it is a pain to drive up and down Harpwittsville Street right now with that cut, but they have done a good job.
But the businesses appreciate that.
That's
I will say,
yes.
they appreciate you having to.
Yes, and we were able to keep the road open during the day, which is important. That is a heavily traveled area, especially with schools, so. And that's all I have.
All right, do we have any update on whether I might get the digest, or we still just hurry up? Do we know? Maybe anything, have you heard anything? I know what's.
Yes.
That. Okay, thank you.
We are still holding. We're still waiting.
Oh, okay, just check.
City council comments?
Me first?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tony, I'd like to thank you for making the commitment to, I hope you know what you're getting into, but I appreciate the fact that you've been here consistently, really for quite some time, and always willing to speak up. I've been using that $30 million mark really for about a year, and just off the top of, and I'll get you a perfectly accurate number. Lindsay's not here tonight, but the sewer project was $18 million. The GFA projects are $8 million, that's 28, and over $2 million on the sidewalks. So that's getting us really close to 30 right there. But I'll get you an accurate number, and I'll make sure that I correct any further communications to reflect the accurate amounts.
Is, just when we speak of GFA funding, are we talking about that we're taking on, or actual monies that we already had allotted to these?
So GFA funding is typically very low interest or discounted debt. So it is debt.
Okay.
And but it's like 1 to 3%, so extremely low. And in regard to the sewer treatment plant, that was a combined grant and loan, and when our bids came in, it was substantially higher than what we had hoped, and that time frame was during COVID. But we made the commitment that time to move ahead because we were so close to maxing out on our sewer treatment plant at that time. And this wasn't mentioned, but I believe we're pretty close to budget on that. But it's a little complicated on how the budget works on such a large combination of funding. So, but I'll get back to you on the actual numbers.
Thanks. Right.
You gonna start for council? Awesome. Mayor comments next. A lot of it's already been mentioned. Number one, thank you all for being with us. Thank you for staying this entire time. We enjoy having you here. We enjoy being able to give the information to people who are actually hearing it from the source where the facts are being presented. So, number one, National Night Out has been mentioned at Lady Park. Please come out and be part of that for us. Our walk is Friday. That is a huge benefit to our entire community. We talk about community building and different groups of individuals coming together. And kudos to Miss Angela Linemark, who's sitting with us tonight, for always doing a phenomenal job. We're going to have great weather this year.
I know.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Can I show you something?
Absolutely. Talking about art walk.
Art walk. This is this is my weather app.
It's perfect.
And it's all sunshine.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to keep it that way.
Yeah.
So we look forward to
After the last 2 years, I'm very happy to see
I started
that.
saying, how many got rented out last?
3.
Yeah.
3 to 4.
3 or 4. On top of Art Walk, the 5K, the Marble Festival 5K that's been mentioned, the challenge, we'll certainly pass that along from our leadership on down. And look forward to some folks signing up. Please join us as Marble Festival approaches. There are multiple ways to volunteer. The Chamber of Commerce is always looking for volunteers. Whether you have 1 hour of time or you have an entire 8-hour shift, there are volunteers always needed for one of the largest festivals that we have here. So please get involved. Patriot Day on September 11th is coming up. Please make sure to attend that ceremony. It's a really impactful ceremony. We want to remember our nation on that specific day. We do have an open house coming up. Ms. Burgess, would you give us the opportunity, the information on, there are 2 opportunities coming up, and I believe they're both on Wednesday.
Yes, yes.
So we have an open house. Let's talk about what is the open house.
Thank you so much. So we are having an open house for the comprehensive plan. So this is kind of a combination of open house, informational session, consensus building event. So comprehensive plan, if you haven't already heard, is our outline for the next 20 years, specifically for the City of Jasper. Currently, we are in the joint Pickens County comprehensive plan, so we're going to dial this into ourselves. So we're offering 2 sessions, one at 4 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock over at the library. We'll be discussing our hot topics like economic development, land use, housing, transportation. So we're going to be talking about what we see their goals for the next 5, 10, 20 years of development for the city. So I encourage everybody to come out if you can make, both workshops. You don't have to come to both workshops. That's a little weird. I don't even want to go to both. But anyway, so if you can come and attend, you get good information, and come be part of our consensus building for the future. Again, this is our comprehensive plan. It is not a regulatory. These are not your ordinances. This is our vision. These are our goals and objectives for the next 20 years for the city. So please come out and join us on Wednesday at the library, either 4 or 6.
In addition to that, are the surveys still open?
Yes, so of course, thank you. I always
Yes,
forget.
ma'am.
So if you go to jasper2045.com, we have both our stakeholders survey and our community survey are both still open. They will close on Wednesday, so please, there are opportunities to fill in and give us your opinion, your questions, anything. We're wanting as much community input as possible. I am very happy that both the stakeholders and the community surveys have hit the 10% mark that's in planning. We hope to at least get 10% of the population to participate in these. So I'm happy to say that we've at least hit the 10% with both our businesses and our population. So please go take that, give us your opinion. It really does matter. It does affect how we do things and have community projects moving forward.
And part of the plan that we're presenting, once this is complete, that offers a 0.5% discount on GFA funding in the future?
So, well, that's
benefits?
another thing. So, one of the opportunities as part, and I know we're talking about GFA loans and stuff. So GFA loans are usually a low percentage. One of the grants that we apply for that is directly tied to the comprehensive plan is called the Plan First application. And one of the benefits of becoming a Plan First community is they will reduce your GFA interest by 0.5 point, saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that is tied directly to the successes in our work program in the comprehensive plan. So there are other point-based items on the Plan First that encourage affordable housing and community block grant submissions. So the comprehensive plan is our guiding light to get us to these great funding opportunities. So please come out and chat with us. It's going to be an open house forum so we can walk around and talk. We're going to talk about the future land use map. We're going to talk about, character areas, goals, objectives. So please come out and join us.
Thanks, ma'am. Really good information. I know that we talked about the digest. It was questionable whether we still do not have the digest. So we're still waiting on that. The digest is what allows us to move forward on planning for our next budget. And our millage rate, setting that millage rate. There's a schedule that we follow to set our millage rate. We want to stick to that schedule the best we can. Our last meeting, we discussed with our CFO who was present on what we could advertise for moving forward. Really important for everyone to know that what the direction council gave was to advertise at the same millage rate that we currently have. So that was not any different than what we have this year. That's what we're going to advertise for next year at this time. Even when we do that, and we advertise at the exact same rate right now, there is a truth in taxation law that the state of Georgia has that requires us at the same tax rate to have 3 public hearings for truth in taxation and to advertise it with their legal ad, which advertises it as a tax increase. Now, the only way that you will see an increase is if your property was assessed at a higher rate. then you would see the increase. But this governing body would set the millage rate, and we're advertising at the same millage rate that we currently have. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out, let us know. We'll try to answer those questions the best we can. But to answer about the digest, we are still waiting on that information. Every single day, we're looking forward to getting it.
Explain that we've advertised on that, but that is not necessarily what we're setting it at.
Correct. So, as Councilmember mentioned, is that we can advertise at that rate, and what that means is we're locked in. We cannot go any higher once we advertise that rate, but we can always go lower. And so the benefit of advertising at the same bill right now is that you're pretty much guaranteed that we will not increase. We will hold steady, or we will entertain rollbacks, one or the other. So that was a good point to bring up.
Thank you.
Council, I believe that's all my comments. Next item on your agenda, I have an executive session for the title of real estate and legal. I will yield the floor for a motion to enter executive session for real estate and legal.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion, council? All in favor? Opposed, same. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are now in executive session.